Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? You know, when the very infamous Adolf Hitler was on a mission seeking world domination, some of these countries he would go to, of course, they would have to fight, right? And once they defeated the enemy, they would take over that part of the country. But then there were other countries where Adolf Hitler would basically say to them, look, we coming over there, we about to take your damn country. Either you could fight for it, or you could just save the time and hand the country over right now. Do you know some of these leaders, they just handed over their country to Hitler as opposed to fighting and defending their land, right? Well, guys, this is pretty much what Carl Froch did when it comes to defending his championship belt, okay? Instead of him saying, you're going to have to pry this damn belt from around my waist. You come close to this belt, it's going to be a damn war, right? If you get the belt, you ain't going to get it that easily. I'm telling you right now, you're going to have to fucking walk through some landmines and all type of tanks and bombs before you get this belt from me. But he didn't do that, did he? He didn't say that, did he? Instead, Carl Froch said, oh, you want to take my belt? Here you go, you can have it. Because I see what's brewing in my division. You got the Dirrell brothers. You got Gil. You got Bernard Hopkins now wanting to come down to 170 or 168. And everyone else coming for my title. Now look, this is the first thing I want to say. We know sometimes belts can be important. Sometimes they're not that important, right? So you have some boxers in the sport of boxing that are much bigger than one belt. And they often vacate that belt. A lot of times when they vacate that belt, it's so that they could take on a bigger challenge, right? Because a lot of times you'll have an option where you fight, some no-name, that's your mandatory, or you could take on a big fight, but in exchange you have to give up your belt, right? We've seen this happen on numerous occasions. But Carl Froch's situation is different because Carl Froch, he has kept this belt close to him for quite some time. He cares about this belt. And when he got rid of this belt, he didn't get rid of this belt to take on a bigger challenge, right? He doesn't have mandatories that are just no-name bums. He has real, legitimate mandatories. And instead of fighting these legitimate mandatories, Carl Froch elected to vacate his title, right? The bottom line is, a move like this implies that Carl Froch does not have confidence in himself. Carl Froch does not believe that he is the best fighter in his own division, okay? I think Carl Froch, he realizes deep down how close that Andre Dirrell fight was in the Super 6 tournament, and he doesn't want to give Dirrell a rematch because he knows how difficult the first fight was. And he doesn't want to fight against Dan. So what does he do? He gives up the belt. Now you have Bernard Hopkins calling him out. And even Carl Froch's trainer and promoter wants the Hopkins fight. But the only person who doesn't want it is Carl Froch. Carl Froch said he believes that he's in a lose-lose situation if he takes the Bernard Hopkins fight, right? But I don't know about that. I mean, first of all, if you know you can beat him, then you're not in a lose-lose situation. I mean, the first question that comes to mind is, if you feel Hopkins is a lose-lose situation, how is Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. not a lose-lose situation? I mean, of course, because Chavez doesn't have the best defense, it'll be more of an entertaining fight. But I still don't. But the fact is, Julio Cesar Chavez is not one of the greats, okay? He's not really a fantastic opponent to put on your resume. So how is that a win-win situation? I guess in one way it's win-win because Carl Froch believes that's a guaranteed fight that he will win. And he believes that Bernard Hopkins is not a guaranteed win, right? But if you're not going to fight Daniel Gill, you're not going to fight the Dirrell brothers, you're not going to fight Bernard Hopkins, outside of Chavez, who else are you going to fight? And what if the Chavez fight falls through? Then who are you going to fight? Right? Maybe Carl Froch is planning some type of farewell boxing tour like Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. did, when he was in the twilight of his career. Basically going on like a tour with his son so they could fight at the same time, just fight, tomato cans and bums, basically while you're on your way out the door. Who knows? Maybe that's Carl Froch's plan. But anyway, the bottom line is Carl Froch seems to be willing to give up his land without fighting for it. We'll see what he does next. I'm on to the next one.